It's working. Nobody wants this war. Absolutely no one thinks that this is a good idea. And the reason why they don't want it is because they know what it's actually about.
Right.
This is a war that's being pushed by Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah.
He's been trying to make this war happen for almost 30 years. This is a war that's being pushed by the Saudis, who have also wanted this war to happen. Two nations that are happy to watch American blood be expended on their behalf. This war is also being pushed because Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. And other people in the White House and other people connected with the Epstein class, they are terrified that we have noticed what they are doing. They're terrified that we're going to start wondering why the hell we let them stay in power. Nobody wants this.
It's just Netanyahu had not found a president stupid enough to drag the United States into that war before. And now Donald Trump has done it. Just a little earlier, I got out of the administration's briefing to the Senate about the situation in Iran. And what you hear behind closed doors is essentially what we're hearing in the public domain, which is complete incoherence. No explanation for why Donald Trump broke his promise to the country when he said he wasn't going to drag us into additional wars. And constantly shifting narratives about what this is all about, right? Even today in the Oval Office, the president was spinning all sorts of rationales. On the one hand, they say it's to go after Iran's nuclear program. We know Iran has no nuclear weapons capability. After all, the president told the country that it had been decimated last year. So then they say, well, we're going to go after Iran's ballistic missiles. Well, Iran has no ballistic missiles that can get anywhere close to the United States. Zero. And of course, then Donald Trump said he was going to liberate the people of Iran. But if you look at public reporting about the CIA's assessment, it says that they concluded that if you get rid of the Iranian leadership, you're very likely to get a much more, even more radical group in their place. But we do know from Secretary Rubio that Netanyahu decided to strike Iran. And so here we are, doing what Prime Minister Netanyahu said he wanted to do for 40 years, which was to attack Iran. It's just Netanyahu had not found a president stupid enough to drag the United States into that war before. And now Donald Trump has done it, and they don't have a clue as to what the end game is. It's just Netanyahu had not found a president.
All right, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off first and foremost by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutations, and many blessings to those that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. This is your brother Nathan Yalla from the GMS Camp Atlanta, coming back at you through the Spirit with another lesson. And this, as you can see, this is news, prophetic news, showing you that the house of Edom is completely divided and being torn apart. And for y'all jakes out there who want to participate in this, y'all fools, this ain't your fight, okay? It will behoove you to just take a step back, okay? So I'm going to start off with a quick precept. So I'm going to go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. This is Jeremiah 50 and 45. It says, Therefore therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord, that have taken against Babylon, and his purpose that he had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, which Babylon, what we're living in is modern day Babylon, and they performed the same wicked acts that the Chaldees did back in ancient Babylon, even greater. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So Israel is being destroyed right now. Israel is being bombed. Israel is being completely and utterly decimated. Okay? That's what we're seeing happening over there in the land of Israel. And that right there is coming to America. Because as, the senator said, he couldn't find a president stupid enough to bring this out. So, to start this war. But he did. But the reason why that was because the time wasn't right yet for this to happen. Now it is. Now the other nations have become strong. 40 years later, they've got missiles. The dollar has become weak. The other nations have created alliances. If you look at the timing of everything, you can see that the Lord has brilliant timing to bring these things to pass. Okay, so now all these things are happening, and America is about to be desolate and made desolate with Israel. Okay, now as you notice too, in the first video that I played, Salakia, that the second video was kind of choppy because where I'm at, the signal is going in and out. Sometimes I have 5G, sometimes I have 4G, right? But if you notice that in the first video, you had that whole room full of Edomites, right? And we can go back to it. Let's see if we can go back to it.
Okay, here.
I want to see what you're talking about. Okay, let's go back to that video. So, if you notice in this room, right, that they were in, it was nothing but Edomites. Okay, so Edom, they don't want this war. They're the small hats. Look at this stupid ass.
Nobody wants this war. Absolutely no one thinks that this is a good idea. And the reason why.
So you notice everybody in this room are Edomites, all right? And they don't want to go to war for Amalek. So that right there is a division within the house of Edom, because what they don't realize is those people over there in that land, they are Edom. Y'all are kinsmen. Okay? And this division is happening. And the leadership of America, starting with Donald J. Trump, has aligned themselves with these people. Okay? And the regular Edomites have realized that they've been left out. And all of their hard work and labor is going directly to fund these people. Okay? There's a video going out, which I'm going to do a video about that later, about how you got Jewish communities that are getting nothing but 100% welfare. Okay? 100% welfare is what they're getting. They ain't paying nothing. All they have, and all these kids, and the government is subsidizing all their housing, their food, everything is being subsidized to these people. Okay? While your everyday Edomite ain't getting nothing. So they're seeing this and they're like, wait a minute. So this is building a hatred and a tension and a great divide between the house of Esau. Okay? So this is why you're going to have a war within and a war without. Because these Edomites, these very Edomites in this room are going to turn up, and they're going to turn against their government. Okay? And anybody else that gets in the middle of it, you jakes. All right? So let me just grab a couple precepts. I didn't intend for the lesson to be super long, just a quick hit. All right? So I'm going to go to the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 25. That's phone starting to flip again. So I'm going to start at verse 24. And it says, but when the Pharisees heard it, they said, fellow doeth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, by the prince of devils. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself should be brought to desolation. So this is a kingdom. Okay?
They don't want it is because they know what it's actually about.
Salakia. So this is a kingdom. This is Esau's kingdom, Esau's rulership. Okay, they know about the steam files, and some of these Edomites ain't with that. Some of them are, but some of them ain't with that. It says every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Come on, man. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then shall his kingdom stand? Okay? And if by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore, they shall be your judges. All right, let me pause this real quick. Now, these are precepts that we bring out all the time. But how much more relevance do they have now, being that we're seeing these things happen in real time? Okay? We're literally seeing the division of Esau. We're literally seeing the fall of Babylon right before our very eyes. Okay? So, Esau's house is divided. Now, this leads me to Isaiah the 19th chapter. I'm going to start at the top. It said, this is Isaiah 19:1. It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and he shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst thereof. Verse 2, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight every one against his neighbor, brother against brother, and every, I was like, fight. I'm going to start again, verse 2. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight every one against his own brother, every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. So while all of this is happening, everything else is going to fall apart too. Okay? People are not going to believe in America anymore. All right? But what America stands for. All that's going to be out the door. Okay? They're not going to care about the Constitution anymore. That shit is going to be dead to them because they're going to realize that it was all bullshit to begin with. They never followed the Constitution ever since its inception. The Federal Reserve Act that was passed back in 1912 and ratified in 1913, okay, by presiding Secretary of State at the time, Philander Knox, that ratified it while Congress was on vacation, okay, during December or whatever, some shit like that, right? You can look it up. And that was an unconstitutional act. That was the first major unconstitutional act, because out of that came the 16th and 17th Amendment, that caused them to where they can tax. I think the 17th Amendment says something like they can tax duties, imposts, incises for any source derived without remuneration and without census, which means they don't have to vote, they don't have to count, they don't have to do nothing. They don't even have to tell you. They can just pass these taxes. And then you have the 16th Amendment, which is the income tax law, right? And it effectively gave the Federal Reserve Bank control of the monetary system. And from there, you have all of these multinational corporations that grew from it, okay? So this place has been unconstitutional. It's not something that just started. These people don't even look to understand their own law book, their own rule book, and say, wait a minute, this ain't right, okay? They don't do it. So now here we are in 2026. Everybody wants to preach the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution. There should have been an insurrection against this government to cast them out. But see, you're so busy, keeping things in play to oppress Jake, not realizing that these very things that you're using to oppress Jake are creating a fence around your dumb ass as well. You see? And now here they are. Here they are trapped in a fence of their own creating. You see? And now they want to sit here and say, we don't want this work. No. You've allowed these lobbyists to go into your government, these big body corporations to go into your government and control your government and lobby and pay special interest groups like the ADL, and different other organizations and all of these NGOs, right? Which means non-governmental organizations, right? Like the FDA, and things like that, the EPA, and they're not governmental bodies, right? But yet they're creating policies for you, and you had no problem with that. You had no problem with the fact that they were systematic in passing policies to stop Jake from entering into certain levels of education, you know, for participating in events that could have lifted Jake up, from Jake having his own land and his own infrastructure that he can provide for himself. You had no problem when all of these things were that. But now you have a problem with it because it's affecting you. And this effect is creating a great division, a great divide between the houses of Esau. Okay, the house of Amalek and whatever tribe these American Edomites are, but they're all Edomites. All right. So the spirit of the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. Right. So the Lord is destroying the counsel. This is why, you know, Donald Trump is making stupid ass decisions. He's not listening to the people that are telling him, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't do that. You're gonna, people that are experienced, that are seasoned, that understand what's going to happen if you make a certain move. Right. Donald Trump ain't listening to them. What is Donald Trump doing? Well, you know what? I'm Trump. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. That's what he's doing. You see? That's what he's doing. He's doing whatever the hell he wants to do. And he's aligning himself with those people that are enemies, they're really enemies of the United States. Okay? But they're using the power and influence of the United States to create a nation state called Greater Israel. But that shit is backfiring in their face. Okay? So it says, verse 3 again, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Okay? Verse 4, and the Egyptians I will give over into the hand of a cruel lord. A fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, the Lord of hosts. So, you see that Donald Trump don't give two shits about these people, right? ICE agents are realizing that their $50,000 bonus and their regular pay they're not getting. And what do you expect? You took the man that bankrupted everything. He turned everything that he had into dust. Anything that was built up, he turned it into dust. He made that shit crumble. And y'all made this man the president of the United States. Never mind his track record. Because y'all MAGA supporters built y'all faith in him on racism, on the evil idea that you Americans will be able to have the same country that y'all had back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Thinking that was going to come back. And y'all know what was happening back at that time. Okay? So now, none of that shit is, none of that shit, is going to work for them now. They thought that they were going to have it. But the Lord said he would no longer drive us into a corner no more. Okay? And we're going to see the fall of our enemy. All right. So then I'm going to go to Isaiah 30. Ain't brought this out in a minute. But because this is for y'all Jakes out there. And it says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel but not of me, and a covering with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt and not ask of my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Okay? Y'all think that this place is going to be the end all be all. Y'all still trying to get the bag. Y'all still trying to participate. You see how many people that I see on a day-to-day basis, they still trying to make the big money. Okay? And they still trying to kiss up to Esau. I went out to a Hispanic restaurant the other night, and I don't know if it was done on purpose or if it was done on accident, but either case, it affected me the same. It was a Mexican restaurant full of Edomites, and they were serving the Edomites before they served us. So I'm like, y'all still kissing up to these devils. They kicking y'all out the country. They're treating y'all like shit, and y'all serving them as if they're the kings, as if they're the righteous rulers. That's why I'm like, I don't have any empathy for y'all. I don't have any empathy or sympathy. Y'all get what y'all get because y'all Latin tribes, y'all put y'all trust in this place, and this place is falling. It says, verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in Egypt, the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. And that's exactly what's happening. So when this place falls, y'all not gonna know what the hell to do. And the men of the Lord ain't gonna be out there trying to give you advice, because the advice was given right now. The epistles was given right now. The men of the Lord are in overdrive doing videos because we know this is it. We know this is it. The only thing we waiting on is the chip, and that's about to happen soon. So I'm going to scroll down to verse 16. Is that what I wanted? Maybe it's up a little bit more. Yeah. Here it is. It's 13. This is verse 12. 30 and 12. It says, "Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be unto you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out of a high wall, whose breaketh cometh suddenly at an instant." So as you're trying to sit there and still get yourself together and not really realizing that the Lord is the one that's controlling this and that you need to repent and turn back to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, as you're watching the division of Esau's house and you're still trying to climb up the ladder in a broken ladder, you're trying to climb up Esau's ladder and the ladder is broken. You're grabbing the legs and they're snapping and you're still trying to get to the top, knowing that the legs don't snap behind you and they're snapped above you and you're still trying to climb it. So when this place fall, right, and this place goes down, when that last leg snap and that ladder's no longer held together and you fall to your doom, right, which is going to happen all of a sudden. And what it means when it says suddenly, it just means that y'all not going to be expecting it, you know. It's going to happen and you're not going to expect it to happen, right? When it falls and it collapses, you're going to be through. You're going to be asking questions, looking for a way out. And guess what? There is no way out. Who let him that is filthy be filthy still, and let him that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to be stuck in the misery and the wickedness and the pool of wickedness that you created for yourself. And the blood of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is not going to cover you because you passed by this thing when you had an opportunity. You looked the other way and thought it was foolishness when you saw the very things that we were talking about happening before your eyes. All right. So, with that, I'm going to end it off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakar Kodash, and Shalom.